Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. We have a Blue-Red Delver versus Goblin matchup, one that is surprisingly not that unusual. Goblins has been a bit of a contender here, local meta, actually taking down one of the ELD Opens, and often being here at our weeklies as well. Deck that I think has a lot of potential. The right player and find ways to win versus any of the strongest decks in the format. There's still some matchups that feel quite bad, but the sideboard can do a lot to address that. So see how this goes for Tony on Blue-Red Delver. He's certainly facing down a lot more creatures than he's used. Another Delver joins in here. Yet to flip Skirk Prospector. Card does a ton of work. What he does, I'm assuming he's going to pay the upkeep. Oh, and he doesn't. So, slight misplay there. Would have been better off sacrificing the Mogg War Marshal during Tony's turn. That would have at least given him the option to swing with both of these goblins. Cycle Gem Palm Incinerator, taking out one of these Delvers. Finding another Gem Palm Incinerator. Could actually sacrifice some goblins to cycle. Those goblins has to stay back as it is Summoning Sick, just created by the Mogg War Marshal. Coming in. Delver has flipped. Would fill down to 17. Fetch now for Tony. Tying it all up, 17 apiece. Basic Mountain showing resiliency against this wasteland. During the end step, filing in a Goblin Crater Maker. That gets lightning bolted before it can actually activate. Gem Palm Incinerator looking like it's going to be very strong here. Clearing out this Delver. Tony with no board presence. Three counters on Vial, enabling this War Chief, and now cycling Gem Palm Incinerator. Delver is out of there, and 5 damage coming into Tony. He's now down to 12. Facing down 5 damage or more per turn. Any additional goblins likely to be hasty. Young Pyromancer, along with a Fiery Islet. Ponder, and probably the first time that tapping that and paying a point of life has felt bad, I guess. Ponder, shuffling. Really hoping for some removal. Lightning Bolt. A great deal to try and stabilize here, generating more 1/1s and also getting rid of this War Chief. Hasty Goblin's going to make it really difficult to proceed. Like Ringleader can be viled in. Then cycle first. When Skirk Prospector being blocked. I don't agree with this line. We'll see how this pays off. Down to 6, Young Pyromancer. Brain. Would have been an extra Ringleader on board already, having swung for 2. Also would have loaded up his hand with some other potential creatures. Fetching down to 5. He has a lightning bolt or removal spell. This war chief, it's going to feel bad. Does a chain lightning. Leader coming in off of this vial. How many goblins will it show? Ooh, and a whiff. A rare miss from Goblin Ringleader. Getting 2 or 3 goblins. Occasionally 4, occasionally 0. Situation is terrible now. 4 swinging in. Got to imagine just these 1/1s being blocked. Tony now down to 3. Goblins without any type of lightning bolt effects most often. Now True Name Nemesis. A good blocker versus this Ringleader. Goblin Lackey. Come down. This land's held back up until now. Stifle. Keeping Tony's mana base around. Now Wasteland hitting the Fiery Islet. Did get a token out of it. Feels like it may have been better to just draw a card with the Islet. Dreadhorde Arcanist. Now True Name swings. Does need to close this out before Phil draws into any type of finisher. Now his build so far looks like it might be mono red. The prevalence of the Gem Palm Incinerators would lead me to believe that he's probably just on the red build. Haven't really seen much in the way of fetches. Black Splash, usually people will go with more munitions experts. Dreadhorde Arcanist bouncing off that Goblin Ringleader. Now, hard advantage begins. This Dreadhorde Arcanist. Goes for a Ponder. Like a triple block will be possible. Second casting. Nemesis. Log War Marshal going away for Phil. Just a couple of points of life here. Goblin Crater Maker. Do 2 damage. Not to a player. Daze targeting the Crater Maker. That will not counter it. It was used with Cavern of Souls, regardless of what color. Unless Phil expressly stated that he was tapping it for colorless. Assumed it makes red. Tony just making that play to try and convert the Daze into a 1/1 body before this young Pyromancer hits the bin. Dreadhorde Arcanist probably should have been triple blocked. Would have removed it previously. Flashing back Lightning Bolt. Still not going to be able to do very much about that. Those True Name's gonna connect. Lord Arcanus does get removed. That's going to do it. True Name's going to win on the crackback. So close there. And that actually 2 life. That is devastating. So Tony ending at 2. A missed ringleader opportunity off of that Aether Vial. I can't think of any good reason not to vial that in. Perhaps overthinking it. Not sure. Goblins does need to go for the throat. Blue-Red Delver not going to have really much in the way of sweepers game 1. If anything, you want to go as wide as possible to mitigate the damage that their cards like Lightning Bolt can do. The more creatures you have on board, the more futile it is for the just trying to bolt your guys. Every turn, you're just pushing through that damage, regardless of their removal. Goblin Ring. Just an incredibly powerful card. Doesn't usually whiff like that, but even when it does, still a 2/2 hasty body. The black builds, you're able to put the Ringleader back on top of your library with Volrath Stronghold and really churn through your deck, essentially seeing 4 cards a turn. Once you find Matron, that's often a better card to put on top, as really there's a single card in the deck that would really be a blowout. Or very often. There are certainly other times where you just need a massive amount of resources, and Ringleader can potentially do that as well. Just turn, kind of grind your opponent out. Not really counter their removal, but, you know, make it so it really doesn't get the job done. If they just continually have to deal with these 1/1s and 2/2s coming out en masse, very difficult to kind of use spot removal effectively. We want to have things more along the lines of Terminus or Supreme Verdict, which are, I don't want to say at an all-time low without looking at the data, but I gotta say they don't feel like they're particularly well represented right now. Verdict essentially needs to be all basic lands. You really want it to fire off. A lot to ask. Basics more important now that they have been in quite some time. Renin 6, along with Astrolabe, really just testing the limits of what we can do with our mana bases right now. Turn 1, fetch a basic island into an Astrolabe, and then being able to hardcast Renin 6 for red and green. Just ridiculous. Like, it's so good. Are really in a discovery period right now in Legacy, trying to absorb these cards from Modern Horizons. I think it's in a great place. So the only format not really thrown into an upheaval with the banned restricted announcement this morning. Aether Vial here from Phil. I'm hoping we see a little bit of an exodus of players from other formats. Actually a pretty good spot to be in as a format. All of the other formats need saving. Legacy just keeping on, being awesome, able to absorb incredible amounts of super powerful cards, while being broken in half. Ponder. 3. Not liking them. A random one over those. Aether Vial ticks up. Kirk Prospector at the front of the hand. That gets cast. It's a Blood Moon. So Vial not being used. Instead, casting the Skirk Prospector. Blood Moon being cast here on turn 3. We're going to see a Hydroblast. Perhaps might have worked out differently than I would have done it. I would have vialed in the Skirk Prospector and sacrificed it to get a turn 2 Blood Moon there. Still able to Skirk Prospector. Now smash to smithereens. That's going to put Phil down 3 life, even though Tony does not have a board presence yet. Now Blood Moon. This one gets Force Pitching Force. That one's a little surprising. Now that he's got the basic island, I'm not sure that that's actually ideal. Dreadhorde Arcanist comes down. Going to start getting double duty. So far he has a Smash to Smithereens, a Ponder, and a Blue Elemental Blast or Hydroblast in the graveyard. Ponder, the most likely suspect, probably not going to waste that Beb. Yeah, and here, I mean, if Blood Moon was out, Tony would still have access to red mana instead. Wasteland actually knocking him down a little bit. Likely to recoup this real fast. This is probably fine to clear the Jump Palm out. Swing in, and sure. I would have been able to be convinced to make that play as well. Lackey coming down. Skirk Prospector still showing he's got absolutely interest in blocking Dreadhorde with his current board. Now in Ponder at instant speed here during the draw step thanks to the Arcanist. Still does have a Lackey, 3 mana, plus a Skirk Prospector. Lots can go wrong here for Tony if he can't get a blocker on board or remove this Lackey. Brainstorm fetched best combo in the game. Now getting a basic mountain. Leave announcing a removal spell. Electrickery. Being used just to kill the Lackey. Potentially save that for some more value. Force of Will on this Ringleader. Goes the double duty on Electrickery. Fine here and now. Brainstorm along with this young Pyromancer. Now we're talking about some serious advantage. Dreadhorde Arcanist allowing for extra spells to be played, and then young Pyromancer converting those spells into a board presence. Things really clicking on all cylinders here now for Tony. Born of Amethyst from Phil. Point may be a little too late. Thorn, a very damaging card early on. At this point, not feel that hindered by this. His spells off of the Arcanist are actually free. Another young Pyromancer. Wasteland. Taking out that Rishadan port. Declining to attack. Now Electrickery gonna clear out Lone Skirk Prospector. Generating a couple of tokens. Paying the 1. for the Thorn. 6 damage coming in. Deuce is tightening here. And a left, a War Marshal, and delay the inevitable. That needed to be a much bigger turn. Hydroblast. Generating some more tokens. Double duty from that Hydroblast. Pyromancer blocked and killed by one of the goblins. At this point, Tony fine trading his valuable 2-mana creature for just a 1/1 token, as that wraps up the game, crossing the finish line with just overwhelming support from his board against Phil's Goblins list. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.